shadow accompanies us through life. Most of us don't pay attention to it. But for us, it is important to know more about this extraordinary phenomenon and to become conscious of what an unbelievably malleable and convertible dark material this is. Here are some thoughts that I gathered. I read them. The origin of the shadow. Shadow may be conceived as a gap in the flow of light. It can be shown that where an object creates a shadow, fewer photons are present than in the surrounding flow of light. Thus, spaces and areas without measurable light flow are formed. However, light remains the determining factor for this point of view because it is required for shadows to appear. A shadow appears, and once the light has been moved or turned off, it disappears again. In this view, the shadow is a phenomenon that depends on the light, and it is a sort of gap that is created by the absence of light. But shadow can also be conceived as a residue of the cosmic dark on Earth. In our universe, darkness is only dispelled where light encounters matter. On the cosmic calendar, these are only short moments before the original state of darkness returns. In this view, the cosmic darkness has not been fully dispelled on Earth and reappears the moment light is kept from a place. Thus, darkness is the basic condition of the universe, which can only be dispelled by light in certain places and for a certain time. So, the nature of shadow is a question that depends on our point of view and refers back to the beginning of existence, whether we give precedence to the light or to the cosmic darkness. The phenomenon of shadow is caused by three basic characteristics of light. For one thing, light can scarcely or not at all penetrate matter. For another thing, light is capable of adjusting to each and every structure. And in the third place, light creates different kinds of shadows depending on its nature, which may vary from the smallest spark of fire to the vast array of light sources that light up our brightly illuminated present time. These characteristics are inextricably linked and thus form the basic preconditions of shadow. In its dark dullness, every shadow has an aesthetic dignity, independent of the object causing it. In its naturalness, it is beyond any judgment. What it is, shadows are evanescent and intangible. They are not material phenomena, and they are present in all dimensions. The night, for example, is the shadow of the earth. Shadows come and go without leaving a trace. In the moment of its existence, the shadow is the proof of an encounter with light, and its fleeting existence depends on a minimum of light. Shadows are without any memory and do not tell a story. The past does not leave its imprint on their intangible nature. Shadows represent the present moment in its purest form and are subject to the flow of time. Therefore, they are different at every moment and at the same time subordinate to the object they represent. The shadow is a slave that has to follow at every turn, but is not always in attendance. It disappears and reappears again. It changes its size. It clings tenaciously to its body, but it can never be captured. The shadow is pure form without matter, an insubstantial reduction of the object it is caused by. There is nothing that can be compared with it in terms of transformation and usefulness for the design of images. As soon as we are ready to recognize it as a substance, it becomes a workable material. It is a dark body whose texture depends on the light. And this dark body is probably the most unusual raw material that exists. The image-creating powers and abilities of the shadow are totally underestimated. It is easily insertable, quickly transformable, takes any shape and is infinitely creative. It is empty, insubstantial, unseizable, and yet we can sculpt it. Primordial matter and malleable material par excellence. Light generates it and determines its nature, density, and contour. The movement of light and the distance to the object determine rhythm and size of the shadow. And the position of light determines the kind of image, whether naturalistic or distorted. The object finally determines its initial shape. It allows us the grand possibility of reduction. It is the concrete and at the same time abstracted form of the object causing it. The shadow is pure economy. It reduces to the essential and shows without deviation the truth, but can also transform, distort, and exaggerate. We should not look at the shadow as merely a copy that hits a surface. I would like to end by quoting Roberto Casati. I have carefully watched out for shadows, and I have noticed seagulls flying backwards, and palm trees gently swaying in the wind even after they had been cut down. I have seen balconies stretching out endlessly, and houses swallowing them up whole. I have seen giant men shrink to little children, and children turn into giants. I have seen trees lunging into the water and cross rivers. I have seen eaves gutters and downpipes turn into veils covering whole walls. Agile like a black bird, I have climbed up to the highest top of cypress pines, swaying in the wind. I have seen women moving through each other. I have followed the course of the sun in a bowl, and I have learned that light can turn into shadow and shadow into light. These were fleeting encounters, cancelled out by the course of the sun, the sequence of day and night. Sometimes I feel I'm the only one on earth who has the privilege to witness such extraordinary and incredible events. I'm aware that these events occur in front of everyone but remain unnoticed. Sometimes I seem to be the only one in this parallel universe. After long years of apprenticeship, I have learned to find my way around this universe. I have surveyed it topographically, like someone investigating a new world. A world that is overlapping with ours but remains untouched. A world I can enter and leave at every corner, indeed at every step, without ever weaving a spell.